Every little girl grows up dreaming about her happy ever after, but most of us don't have fairy tale scriptwriters making sure we get it. That's where the Happy Ever After show comes in. If you have been waiting for a fairy godmother to wave her magic wand and release your frustrations, create the prosperity you want, and live a life you love, then listen closely. It's time to learn how to make your own wishes come true with your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Double Your Business. I'm your host, Cassie Parks, and I'm so excited that you're here and I get to spend the next half hour with you. I know you're listening because you want to double your business without doubling your hours so that you can actually enjoy the life that you've built. And today we're going to talk about writing a book. This is one of the topics that so many people, come to me and they want to write a book. They seek me out because they've written 6 Amazon bestsellers, soon to be 7. And so they seek me out because of that, because they want to, they know I write a lot of books and we talk about that. So we're going to talk about it today. Like, when does it make sense in your business? Should you, shouldn't you? Sort of all about the book writing, because I think that would be helpful for you to know. So, and if it is, please send me an email, spiraluptoday@aol.com, and let me know that you loved this episode, or leave a comment on the show page on iTunes. I would appreciate it. So, oh my gosh, just things are so awesome. Before we get into that, I just want to share something that I did for one of my clients a couple weeks ago. And I think I'm going to do like a whole episode that's a little bit more about this. But one of my programs is called Manifest 10K. And one of my clients, of several clients who have manifested over $10,000 in the program, because that's the intention of the program. And this particular client, Maggie, she manifested over $20,000. And it's not just about the money. Like, Maggie manifested $20,000, and it came in the form of a new job opportunity. And what that new job gave her was more time, more freedom, and the ability to be around more people that she likes to be around, more like-minded people. It gave her more of everything, not just money. And so I'm in the process of really celebrating Maggie's success and different, people's success with Manifest 10K. And so one of the things I'm doing is the photoshoot. And so Maggie got to do a photo shoot with $10,000. She came over and we did the photo shoot. It was amazing. You can see some of the pictures on my Facebook page. You can definitely find them. I'll be sharing lots of them. But I'm going to do like an online magazine with all the stories. So you'll be able to see that then. I'll let you know when that's out. But it was just so much fun. I'm still so excited about it. The pictures are still coming in. The photographer, I had her send me, I needed some for a particular article that's for something else, not something that I'm doing. So I had her send me, a few shots first off. I'm like, this is what I need. And so those are coming in, and the other pictures are still coming in, and it's just so much fun. I love it. And I had the opportunity to do that for one of my clients and to give them that amazing experience. Somebody was on a call at the beginning of the week and they said, Cassie's like a genius at turning her clients into celebrities. And I thought, that's super cool, right? Giving them the red carpet treatment. And I love that. I love that that's my life and my business. And not only this, like, that's what I get to do, like, that's what I'm able to do because I've grown my business the way I've grown it, because really I'm clear on what I teach all you all. So all you all, seems like I've been in Texas lately, but so I just wake up every day and get to do all this fun stuff and like love it. And really it's because of what I'm going to teach you. And I'm excited to talk to you about, obviously for me, writing books has been a huge part of that. And so I want to tell you sort of my philosophy, having written lots of books on that today. And so we'll definitely talk about that. If you love this podcast, definitely go to Amazon.com and pick up your copy of Double Your Business if you haven't already. And remember that there is a free 4-part video series at doubleyourbusinesswithcassie.com that will guide you through the steps to doubling your business and really helping you get clearer about how to do that. I like giving the information in multiple forms. So of course there's a video course, there's the podcast, and then there's the book itself. So check them all out. You can get the video course at doubleyourbusinesswithcassie.com. All right. So I want to write a book, right? Is probably, when I get on the phone with potential clients, so many of them want to write a book. And even sometimes it doesn't come up when we first get on the phone, but when we are going through the workshop and we're getting clarity, so often it's like, I want a best-selling book, right? Which I love about my clients. None of them just want to have a book. They want a best-selling book, as should be your goal if you're going to have a book. And I spend a lot of time, really getting clear and pushing pretty hard for clarity with my clients on what is that book going to do? Why do you need the book? Like, why do you want a book? What are you going to do with the book? And really, is the book in your head going to give you is that going to lead to the business and the life that you want? Because that's what this is all about, right? Your happy ever after is all about creating that business that gives you that life that's your happy ever after, which is what you always dreamed it would be, probably the reason why you started it, and the place you want to get to. So it might sound like I'm being a little hypocritical when I tell you that I tell most of my clients, like, you're not ready to write a book. Don't write a book. I actually say, like, don't write a book. Often when my clients start to get clear about, they either come in with this and it's like, I want to write the book. And so let's talk about that first. So when you come to me and we're, working through getting clarity and you want to write a book, and that's like number one. So often writing a book there's something that we think, that you think happens when you write a book. It's like all of a sudden you become successful. And, I think that that's sort of the perception of what happens. Now, I think a lot of things happen, especially, and I'm going to tell you, if you already know, you're like, I want to write a book and not even going to hear the rest, you can go to getresultslikeCassie.com if you want to work with my publisher, which is Difference Press. And that's not a guarantee that you'll get in, but you can definitely say that you heard about Difference Press on my show, and the Author Incubator and all of that. GetresultslikeCassie.com will get you to the application to have this discussion. And so I want to have the pre-discussion about whether you should even get on that phone call or not, right? So what I love about the head of Difference Press and the Author Incubator, Angela Loria, is that she pushes you in much the same way I'm going to push you, just a little bit different. About what's the business look like why are you writing a book, right? But when you think about writing a book, the number one thing when you're like, I want to write a book, I really ask my clients why. Like, is it because your future self has a book? Is it because you think that that's going to get you success, which is most often the answer. It's like, if I write a book, I'll be successful. And sometimes people can't articulate that, but I can see it. I can see how it's playing out when I ask more and more questions about the book. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to write a book and everything amazing about wanting to write a book. But I think you have to be clear. I know you have to be clear about why you're writing the book if you want it to, A, be a good process, and B, get you the outcomes that you want, right? So if you're a person and you're just like, I just want to write a book because it's on my bucket list. I don't care if it sells copies. I don't care if it changes lives. I just have a story I want to share. That's awesome, right? If there's no business connected to that, then you're clear, right? And if you want to do it to make money, you have to do a little bit of research. So if you want to do it to make money, but you don't want to coach on the topic that you're writing about, or you don't want to speak on the topic that you're writing about, you don't want to do things on the topic that you're writing about, then you need to do the research and figure out how many people really make a lot of money selling books. And some people do. Some people get advances, some people get, and that's a certain path to go down, right? That's a certain reason to write a book. And what happens is sometimes people get cloudy with that. It's like, well, I don't want to coach on this, but I just want to make a lot of money from that book. And that's awesome. And so what I would tell you is to do everything that I've taught you in Double Your Business and in the book, and go through the whole process and just imagine yourself as a writer and just, step into, I'm a writer, right? Because being a writer, I think, is different than writing a book, right? An author, it's a little bit different. When you know that the book is, when you want to write a book because you want to make money and you want to make lots of money off of it, like, you want to ask yourself, like, is it the book? Like, are you just happy putting out a book and that's it and making some money off of that? Or do you want to impact people's lives? Do you want to work closely with people? Do you want to speak to groups of people and shift who they are? Like, is that what you want to do? Or do you just want the book to be available for people to buy and people to buy it? Because if you want to make that difference, then you really have to write a book for a specific reason. And you have to want to do something in the topic of your book. I have a client and her story is amazing. All my client stories are amazing, but the one that's coming to mind, her story is amazing. It's really good. Would people enjoy it? Yeah. Could people benefit? Yes. But we've had this discussion. I'm like, do you want to coach on this topic? Because as she goes through and she grows into her future self, this is what happens. We get emails and we're like, oh my gosh, I think this is the next step, right? And so she sent me an email about writing a book. And she's like, I know you have a different publisher. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool, whatever. First off, I would only ever send you to the Author Incubator because I know the process, because I know who you become in the process, because I know that there's somebody on the other side that cares that you get the outcome you want and is going to guide you to that outcome. They're not just going to let you write a book. I have a friend and she wrote a book with a different publisher before she found our publisher. And she just told me like horror stories. And she didn't have a good experience working with them because the person on the other side of the desk, or the persons, it was about volume. It was about bringing people in. It wasn't about the outcomes. And so whether you go with my publisher or not, which you can get in touch with at getresultslikeCassie.com, whether you go with her or not, you want to look at what are the results of the people who they're publishing, right? So anytime you look at that, to know. I think if my friend had known to look at that, she definitely wouldn't have gone with this other company. Because in her mind, like, she ended up with a book, but she had to fight tooth and nail to get that book. And what happens with that company is a lot of people don't fight. They don't push that hard. At the Author Incubator, there are deadlines and they keep you at task because writing a book can be big and scary. Came to me and she said, I had this email, and it was actually a different company than my friend used. Otherwise, the conversation would have gone a little bit different. But I just said, do you want to coach on this? Because the thing is once you invest a certain amount of money in writing a book, then, and I do think that I'm going to talk on the next show about how I determine what investments I make in my business. But when you make an investment in your business, or you make an investment in something, quite often you want to earn that money back, as you should, right? It's an investment to grow. Ideally, like when you put something in the stock market, you want to make like 10%. When I make an investment in my business, I want to make 10 times that. I want to get a 10 times ROI on whatever money I put in. So, my client and I were going back and forth, and really what I sensed, it was like that was a how. It was trying to get there faster. Writing a book will get me to where I want faster. And here's the truth. And this is the truth that I believe. I've seen it play out, and I totally see how it can happen. Is that if you write a book, and sometimes you have to write the wrong book to get to the right book. But so often, if you're not clear in everything that I talk about, you're not clear in the life that you want to live, and your ideas haven't come from this inspired future place, then what happens is that you actually take yourself off track. Because the minute that you make a decision to go and to get a book done, right? I'm going to write this book. You almost like unconsciously, a little bit consciously are making a decision like, I want to get that money back. Like most people, unless you're just writing a book to like have a catharsis, or just because it's on your bucket list, you want to share your story, which are awesome reasons, as long as you're clear, you're not you're not getting the money back. You don't hope to get the money back. I mean, if someday, if it takes off and you get the money back, cool. But that the main reason is just because you want to write the book. But so often people they think they just want to write a book, and what they want is what they think that book will give them, what they think that book will help them get. And so if you make an investment in a book and you haven't gone through this process of getting totally clear about who you are and what you do and the life that you want to live, and had that business come out of that place and be guided by that, if you write the wrong book, you can get so on the wrong track, because you start to then build a business around that. And if you don't like that and you don't love that, then easily you've just added time to get to the destination that you want to get to, because you're either going to build it and it's going to be harder, which you can probably do, but it's not going to flow as easily. It's not going to happen as quickly as if it's really in alignment and it comes from an inspired, thing to write the book. It just won't be as easy, because it's not that business that's like sitting in your soul wanting to come out, right? And that's cool. You can totally do that. Often what I see when people do that is they go down that path and they realize, like, I went down this huge path and I didn't love this. And what I know, and I can see in my clients now, is like, if they would have taken that path, how they would have gotten off, and how they would have not been as close as they are now, how they wouldn't have found what they truly love and what's so easy, And so that's why I preach to them. I'm like, a lot of times I'll get like, should I write a book? I think I should write this book. And we really go through and evaluate, like, is this a house step? Like, is this really the right time? And is this the right topic, right? Because that, again, it can get you off. And so, and get you off track. And so, because you want to make sure that you're clear about what's the life you're creating, right? Because the book is just a step in that process, if you even need it. So when you're thinking about writing a book, I think about that, because what I know is that when the idea is inspired, it's absolutely right, and again, I think it sounds a little bit hypocritical coming from me, who's written 6 books. But what I know is that first book I wrote was 100% inspired. I was all in. And now I was all in. And what I mean, everything I do, I'm all in. But it was the feeling, right? It wasn't this like huge, excited, like, writing this book is going to change my whole life. It's going to make everything easy. My business is just going to, happen so easy now. None of that. It was inspired, and it was quiet, and it was a whisper that this is the next step. And one of the reasons it was the next step is because I had mastered what I was doing. So what I was doing, I knew I wanted to grow that, right? And I was following the process. When I signed up to write my first book, I had just done the future budget, and I was stepping into my future place, and this is what appeared. And so sometimes there is like a path. I was saying the other day, I was talking about I'm going to get a magazine done with all of my with some of my clients' stories in it, to be able to share with people and to highlight them as they should be highlighted. And we were talking about, a certain place in the magazine my books are going to go, and there's going to be an ad for them and all that. And somebody said, we can just like put them all across the bottom. And I said, you know what? We're just putting the last 2. Manifest 10,000 and double your business. Like, all the other ones really feel like they were practice. I love them. They're amazing books, and they helped me grow into the next version of myself, but they were steps in the process. And they were steps in the process to get to these 2 books that are going to be in bookstores, that are, going to go big. And I think I always knew that. I don't know if I knew that. I actually didn't know that. I'm going to take that back, but it was stepping into it. And each new book that I wrote, like, I know why I wrote it. I know where it got me. I know why in my business I did it. And so, but I think I'm a little bit of, I'm not the norm, right? So often, it's like, write a book and then get clear about what's the next step. Like, either that's the book, or then what the book is that you want to do. But my point here is that I think it's so important before you jump into writing a book, because you're really committing to that path. And there were a ton of things that I could write books on when I decided to write my book. And one of the ways that I did know as well that it was right is that I had already had the idea. So before I signed up to write Money Mindset for a Champagne Life, I had written Retired at 32 on my own, with the intention that people would read that book and then they would join Manifest 10K, or which at that time was called Money, Money, Money. So they would join my list, they would join that program, they would get to know me, and then I actually didn't know at the time like what was the next step to work with me, but I knew that's what I wanted more of. And so I wrote that book. And one of the reasons why I chose to write the book the way that I did with The Difference Press is that I knew what that book should do. I knew what I wanted it to do. And it got over 100 downloads right away, all on my own. And I had a very small list at the time. But almost nobody signed up for the course. And so that was my clue. Like, I didn't write the right book. Somehow I knew there was something missing. There was something I didn't know. So when I got on the phone with Angela at Difference Press, she was able to kind of point out, like, here's where you missed your ideal reader. And your ideal reader is so important. And you have to love your ideal reader, because this is the person, again, if you're writing a book that's part of a coaching practice or a coaching business or anything like that, where you're going to use that book to leverage your credibility, to enhance your speaking gigs, to get, leverage, your credibility to get speaking gigs and all of that. You want to be in love with your ideal reader, because you're going to be spending time with them. Those are the people that you're going to be spending time with. So if that's not who you want to spend a lot of time with, is your ideal reader, then that's not the right book to write. And Difference Press, the whole, everything at the Author Incubator is geared to, help make that awesome. So, and make that process and identify your reader. And that's why I highly suggest, like I said, Retired at 32 didn't land with readers like I intended it to. And I know now that's because that is a skill. To speak to your ideal reader, to be talking to them, to be guiding them through the process is a skill set. And it's a skill set I didn't have. But it can be learned. But I think it's also a skill set that you need another set of eyes for. You need somebody who's stepping in as your ideal reader and reading your book and knowing, like, hey, I got lost here. Hey, I don't think this is talking to me. And so you can pull out those parts where it was just stuff you wanted to enter. So, I'm getting ready to wrap this up. And really what I just want to say is if you know, and it's like the whisper, it's the quiet, like, it's time for me to write a book. I want to get on the phone with Angela. I want to see if this is a good book idea. You can go to getresultslikeCassie.com if you know you're ready. But get clear about why you want to write that book. Get clear about the life. Like, go through the whole practice. Make sure you're clear before you invest that time, the money, and the energy to write a book that isn't serving that life that you want. Like, make sure it's serving the life that you're creating. It's in support of that. And the best way that I know to know that is to do the work, to get super clear on that life that you're headed towards. Like, where's that GPS point that you're going to? Start stepping into it, and then listen to the whispers and follow those. And really know that the book isn't the ultimate goal. You do become someone different, and it does change everything, but not in terms of the way that you might be thinking. Like, it will help you get where you want to go if it's the right step. If where you're going, if it's the right book for where you want to go. And the only way to get clear about that is to really get clear about that life that you want to live. Like, what life are you creating? What life are you building? When you are super clear on the life that your future self lives and you're stepping into your future self, the right book will be whispered into your ear, or topic, or the right time. For me, like, the right time was whispered, hey, this is the time to pursue this. And then you just keep following that path. So if it is your time, getresultslikeCassie.com. If it's not, That's such good information to know, because what you get to do is you get to keep getting clear about that life that you're building and you're headed towards. You get to get clear on that GPS point. You get to tap into your future self, and you get to step into her as often as possible. And then when the time is right, she's going to reveal to you the magic. And it totally happens. It happened to one of my clients this week. It was the total whisper. She's played with a lot of things, and we just kept the course about the life. We just kept focusing on the life. And what that has gotten her is this amazing, I'm so excited. I can't wait till she introduces it to the world, but this amazing business that's absolutely perfect for her. And it was a whisper. And it came out of her just being committed to getting clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer on the life until the business presented itself. So keep getting clear on that life that you want to live, your happy ever after. Make sure that you are stepping into the person who's living that life every day. And I can't wait to talk to you on the next episode. Oh, I almost forgot. I wanted to share this really cool feedback that I got, which was about a couple episodes ago. Somebody messaged me and they said, I especially love today's episode of Happy Ever After. You're awesome. So thank you for sharing that. And the mantra today is, I'm focused on the life. And I think I am focused on the life. I am focused on the life. And last time it was, I stay focused on the life. But it's so important, and it's so important in this topic that we're talking about, that I think it's worth repeating. So again, if you know that whisper is that it's time to write a book, or at least it's time to figure out at a little bit higher level, go to getresultslikeCassie.com and schedule a strategy session. And if not, just keep stepping into your future life. Have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for joining us on the Happy Ever After show, where you don't need a genie lamp to get your wishes granted. Now that you're inspired and ready to take action, get yourself on the path to your happy ever after by scheduling a complimentary strategy session at createmyhappyeverafter.com.